The transformation worked, at least while the leader was there. The meetings happened, the boards were updated, people raised risks, actions closed. Then the sponsor moved to another role. The new leader arrived. The daily huddle became weekly. The weekly review became optional. The follow-through sheet disappeared. People noticed what leadership stopped asking about. They adjusted. 6 months later, the tools were still on the wall. The culture had already gone back. That is the difference between an initiative and an operating system. An initiative depends on attention. An operating system survives it. Quick note before we begin. The views shared on Compass to Practice are my personal views and do not reflect those of my employer or any current or former company. I do not share confidential, proprietary, customer-specific, or employer-specific information on this podcast. Welcome to Compass to Practice, where leaders turn intention into behavior. I'm your host, Antonio Irizarry, and today's episode is Make It Stick! Trust is often described as a feeling, but in an organization, trust is also a prediction. What do I believe will happen if I raise a risk? What do I believe will happen if I admit a mistake? What do I believe will happen if I challenge a decision? What do I believe will happen if I ask for help? People answer those questions through experience, not slogans. If the last person who raised a problem was blamed, the system teaches silence. If leaders ask for input and never close the loop, the system teaches disengagement. If priorities change without explanation, the system teaches self-protection. If a leader owns failure publicly and fixes the process, the system teaches honesty. That is why trust must be built into the operating rhythm. The culture is not what the organization says it values. The culture is what people can predict will happen under pressure. There are 5 elements in an operating system of trust: cadence, consequences, closure, coaching, learning. First, cadence. Trust needs a predictable place to show up: a daily risk huddle, a weekly barrier review, a monthly reflection, a regular one-on-one. The exact format can vary. The key is predictability. When people know when and where truth can surface, they do not have to wait for a crisis or a private hallway conversation. Second, consequences. What happens after someone speaks? Are they thanked, ignored, challenged, blamed, or protected? Consequences do not mean punishment only. Consequences are the system's response. If truth produces action and respect, people bring more truth. If truth produces exposure without support, people learn to bring less. Third, closure. Listening without closure becomes theater. The team needs to know, what did we hear? What will we do? What will we not do and why? Who owns the next step? When will we review it? Closure converts attention into credibility. Fourth, coaching. Values become real through observed behavior. Leaders need a way to reinforce the behavior they want and correct the behavior that reintroduces fear. That means specific feedback, practice, support, and follow-through. Fifth, learning. The system must change after the truth is known. A corrective action that closes on paper but leaves the condition unchanged is not learning. Learning means the next person is less likely to face the same failure. Cadence gives truth a place. Consequences make truth safe or expensive. Closure proves listening mattered. Coaching changes behavior. Learning changes the system. Backsliding is not always caused by resistance. Sometimes it is caused by success. Metrics improve, so leaders reduce attention. The meeting is shortened. The review is canceled. The visible protection disappears. People assume the system is fixed, but culture is not fixed. Culture is maintained. Another cause is leadership transition. The incoming leader inherits the tools, but not the story behind them. They see a board and assume it is reporting. They do not understand that the board exists to make risk safe. They see a listening session and assume it is soft. They do not understand that it is an early warning system. A third cause is metric substitution. The organization begins measuring the number of meetings, actions, or completed templates. People optimize the artifacts. The original purpose fades. This is why sustainability requires behavior measures and outcome measures. You need to know both what happened and how the organization behaved while it happened. Here is the first part of the practice, the compass scorecard. Choose one or two observable behaviors for each direction of the leadership compass. Humility, clarity, courage, empathy. For humility, possible behaviors include: the leader goes to see before deciding. The leader speaks last in problem-solving meetings. Assumptions are written and tested. Leaders name one thing they may be missing. For clarity, decisions are written with an owner and due time. Priorities include a not doing list. Success is defined in observable terms. Changes are communicated before execution begins. For courage, risks are escalated before customer impact. Standards are protected under schedule pressure. Hard conversations happen early. Leaders own failure publicly and fix the system. For empathy, leaders ask how decisions land on the people doing the work. Listening loops close visibly. Workload and hidden risk are discussed without shame. People are corrected with dignity and specificity. Do not choose 10 behaviors per direction. Choose one or two that matter most in the current season. Then define evidence. How will you know the behavior happened? For example, humility behavior. Leader speaks last in the weekly problem review. Evidence. Meeting notes show frontline facts and recommendations before the leader's conclusion. Clarity behavior. Every cross-functional decision has one owner and one due time. Evidence. Decision log completeness and cycle time. Courage behavior. Quality risks are raised before customer impact. Evidence. Number of early signals and time from detection to action. Empathy behavior. Listening sessions close the loop within 7 days. Evidence. Percentage of commitments answered on time. This is not about scoring human worth. It is about making leadership practice visible. The second part of the practice is the monthly compass retro. Set aside 60 minutes once a month. Do not turn it into a performance review. Ask 4 questions. First, what truth surfaced early this month? Celebrate the behavior that made early signal possible. Second, where did our response make truth safer or more expensive? Be honest about eye rolls, delay, blame, silence, and ignored follow-through. Third, which compass behavior strengthened and which one drifted? Use evidence, not impressions only. Fourth, what one correction and one reinforcement will we carry into next month? One correction, one reinforcement. Do not launch a culture project every month. Repair one drift and strengthen one good behavior. For example, correction. Leaders will stop solving before the team presents facts and a recommendation. Reinforcement. Publicly recognize 3 examples of early escalation that protected the customer. The retro should end with owners and dates. Otherwise, reflection becomes another form of theater. Let me give you an example of a quality organization. The outcome metric is customer escapes. The trust behaviors are early risk escalation, protected line stops, and visible corrective action closure. If escapes fall, but line stop reporting also falls, leadership should be cautious. The system may be hiding. If escapes fall while early signals increase and repeat failures decline, the system is learning. What about a project team? The outcome metrics are delivery, cost, and scope. The trust behaviors are assumption logging, decision clarity, and transparent dependency risk. If delivery stays green only because people work nights and hide dependency problems, the project is not healthy. It could also be for a service operation. The outcome metrics are response time and customer satisfaction. The trust behaviors are accurate case classification, early workload escalation, and closure of recurring failure modes. If response time improves while unresolved cases are reclassified or transferred, the metric is lying. The operating system of trust connects outcome and behavior, so success cannot be purchased through hidden damage. Create a one-page compass scorecard. Choose one behavior for each direction. Write the evidence. Choose the monthly review date. Then ask your team, which behavior would make the biggest difference if leadership practiced it consistently under pressure? Listen carefully to the answer. It may not be the behavior you expected. Start small. Keep the cadence. Respond visibly. Coach the drift. Change the system. That is how trust becomes operational. Ask yourself, what does my team predict will happen when they bring me bad news? Which trust routine depends too heavily on one leader? What behavior do we need to reinforce publicly next month? Humility keeps the operating system open to learning. Clarity makes the behavior visible. Courage protects the standard when pressure rises. Empathy keeps the system human. If this episode helped, follow Compass to practice and share it with one leader who wants improvement to survive beyond a single initiative or personality. Until next time, turn intention into behavior. Follow me on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want more information, visit my website, www.compasstopractice.com.